Hey, what's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? Check it out. I have a great live stream for you today. I want to talk about forced masking of children. I'm going to reference an NBC News reporter who uploaded her friend's picture of them having masked children with holes in their masks playing instruments. Is it worth it? We're going to go through a mainstream news mainstream news story that broke through on television, which shows that masking has caused a massive increase in speech delays and learning disabilities in schools. So we're going to look at that. And then I want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg. She slipped up and said something about Bill Maher and made a little error, but I want to talk about that as well. And then if you guys stay long enough, I hope you do, I want to play a clip of Kary Mullis, the inventor of the PCR test, talking about Anthony Fauci decades ago. It goes hand in hand with what's going on with Joe Rogan. They're trying to censor a lot of doctors and people who go on his podcast. However, they never want to debate them. And Kary Mullis, of course, is the inventor of the PCR test that they're shoving up your nose to tell you if you're sick or not. And he has some very interesting words about how Dr. Anthony Fauci decades ago was dodging his debate. Now, I want to let people know Telegram, my free email list, I have alternate accounts. I should be fine, but this is two topics that usually get me in trouble. The forced masking situation has gotten me a strike on YouTube. And also, most of the time I talk about Kary Mullis, it seems to get taken down or I get a strike for another reason. So I'm hitting two very sensitive subjects to big tech, the inventor of the PCR test and forced masking. Thank you to everybody supporting. Thank you to everybody sharing, watching everywhere. I don't know what's going to happen with this live stream, but I'm tired of them abusing mentally, physically, psychologically, and then covering it up like YouTube. They gave me a strike for talking about masking. Anyway, this is a picture. If you guys can see right here, check it out. And then I have a whole presentation. I hope you stay tuned. This kid has a mask with a hole in it. She's got a mask with a hole in it, mask with a hole in it, face shield. And Simone Cusarella from NBC 12 posted this on Facebook. It didn't get that much attraction, but now it will. She said, a friend of mine shared this photo of a grade school band performance in Pennsylvania. Thoughts? Here's my thoughts. It looks like your kids got captured by a foreign country and they've been enslaved. It looks like your kids got captured by an evil person in a movie and they got enslaved. That's what it looks like. You're telling people this is an airborne virus. It's in the air. It's so bad that you need to stay inside. But yeah, just poke a hole in your mask because we're such psychopaths. We're such evil, pathetic psychopaths that we won't just let you have a moment where you just get to be a normal person. We're going to do something so stupid, so unscientific, so embarrassing, so abusive that we're going to poke holes in your mask and then let you breathe and play instruments with your freaking, slave mask on. It's so freaking evil. It's so messed up. It's so terrible. And one thing that really bothers me is YouTube. Hey, Team YouTube, I'm probably going to upload this on Twitter and tag you. You psychopaths gave me a strike for quoting a CNN reporter, and you took something out of context where I was talking about it not working, and you didn't play the full context and just said, oh, you broke the rule. Here's something you're not interested in fact checking. Here's something you're not interested in. And I want to say you guys should be on Team YouTube ashamed of yourself, because when it comes down in history and we see how the hell could we let this happen? How could we abuse so many children? How could we act like this was okay? It's big tech companies like you scumbags who cover up my reports and my information to try to play a PR team for these abusers and act like it's so great and it's so perfect and there's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot that's wrong with it. And I'm going to show you a clip as if you didn't have a brain for yourself and common sense. It's finally breaking the mainstream news of all the issues that kids are having with forced masking and speech delays.
Says during this pandemic, her speech therapy clinic has seen an enormous shift in the ages of their patients. Before the pandemic, only 5% of patients were babies and toddlers. Today, it has soared to 20%. Many parents calling it COVID delayed.
We've seen a 364% increase in patient referrals of babies and toddlers from pediatricians and parents.
And they are children that are having a difficult time speaking.
Speech delayed.
Babies start learning how to speak by reading lips as young as 8 months. So what happens when lips and faces are covered up by masks? Well, therapists say for some kids, they can work around the mask and still learn to speak perfectly fine. But for others, it can cause speech delays.
There's no research out there yet to say that this could be causing speech and language delays, but most definitely it's, I'm sure, a factor. It's very important kids do see your face to learn. So they're watching your mouth.
That's orange. Can you say orange?
Orange.
That was a good try.
Brianna Gay is raising 5 children, but it's her youngest who needs therapy.
It definitely makes a difference when the world you're growing up in, you can't interact with people and their face. That's super important to babies. So
we're seeing a lot of things that look just like autism. They're not making any word attempt.
All right, I'm gonna play that clip in a second, but they're starting to see things that look like autism because the kids are being so psychologically and mentally abused that they can't speak. I mean, they're covering this up. Once again, Team YouTube, you should be ashamed of yourself. They're trying to cover this up. Oh, it's so great. It's so perfect. Anybody who disagrees with it's an anti-vax or conspiracy theorist. Use your freaking brain, you scumbags, because when it's all said and done, you will feel shame and your soul will be on fire for the rest of your life, knowing that you played your little role as a corporate zombie, abusing children and covering up the abuse of children. Okay, I don't care if you take this video down. I don't care what you do to me. I have a soul. I have a heart. I don't care if you take $500,000 from me. You're child abusers. You're abusing the shit out of children. You covered it up for 2 years. And the obvious results, oh, we don't have studies on that because they don't care to study that type of stuff. They don't give a crap. Just like they didn't study the fact that now they're killing more kids through suicide. Childhood obesity is on the rise. More kids are dying from fentanyl and opioids, Oh, where's the study that shows all the collateral damage to the lockdowns and all these abusive policies? They don't give a shit. They'll just tell you 3 years later, oops, yeah, we killed 100,000 people. My bad. It's just so disgusting. But anybody with a brain, listen to me talk, right? Now listen to me talk. My speech it's a barrier in front of your space. It makes it harder to hear. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. Do you hear me talking at this volume? Do you hear me talking at this volume? It's called covering up your face and blocking off the sound barriers. That's science. So it makes it harder to hear, harder to listen, harder to read facial expressions, harder to smile, harder to frown, harder to develop as a human being. When you're a child, you are literally learning how the world works, how to smile, how to frown, how to cry, how to cheer. And that's being taken away from you. Not only is your vocal ability to communicate being dampened, but your ability to listen is being dampened. Your ability to read facial expressions is being dampened. And your ability to give facial expressions is being dampened. Of course, this is going to cause things like speech delays and more increases in kids that look like autistic kids. Duh. What did you scumbags think? And to say I'm so scientific, and then you have a bunch of kids with holes in their masks, you're abusers. And you're making these kids look like they got captured by a foreign country and enslaved. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Team YouTube should be ashamed of yourself. How long are you going to do this? Are you going to wait for a decade and all these kids are so scarred that they don't even know what it's like to be a person anymore? Over what? Was it worth it? I don't know. Let's take a fact check from some bullshit organization that's taking money from a shell foundation that's in bed with Big Pharma. Let's see what they think. You know what? Excuse my language, but how about they could go fuck themselves? Because we know exactly who they are. We know exactly what they're about. And we know that they are the deceivers of humanity who are trying to quash any sort of intelligent discussion about what's happening. They basically want to treat us like a bunch of prisoners, slaves, serfs, and peasants and make it illegal for you to object to your new status as a second-rate peasants. Go fuck yourself, you evil pieces of shit. Hell would be a great place for you considering all the damage you've done. These are such garbage groups of people, and I will pray for you that you come back to your soul and join the right side of humanity because you will suffer for the rest of your life mentally and psychologically. It's just a basic rule of this world, thanks to God and karma. What comes around goes around. Treat people like you want to be treated. If you abuse people this much, you're going to end up feeling it later in life. Unfortunately, that's just how the world works. So, get right now, apologize for all of the child abuse that you've done, and get on the right side of history, or else it's going to haunt you for the rest of your lives, your sicko lives. Speaking of censorship, here's Bill Maher saying basic common sense stuff, countering hold on, somebody's trying to call me. That's why I don't give out my number. Calling the medical, authoritarianism what it is, saying it's ridiculous. We're being treated like items at a supermarket. And Whoopi Goldberg, of course, has a problem with it. And let's hear her respond to Bill Maher, make a mistake and make a statement by a mistake about vaccines. I know she didn't mean to say this, but she did say it.
You have mask, you have to have a card, you have to have a booster, they scan your head. Like you're a cashier and I'm a bunch of bananas. I'm not bananas, you are.
That's not really funny to people who've lost their kids to this vaccine, or people who've lost family members or dear friends.
So she said that's not really funny to people, to kids who, so people who've lost their kids to this vaccine. Of course, she meant to say this virus, but she literally said lost kids to this vaccine. Why I find it interesting, not just the fact that she said that. I looked up the media reports on this. Nobody's talking about it in the media. They're like, oh, scathing, criticism from Whoopi Goldberg. I'm like, it's scathing criticism when she stumbles and instead of saying lost their kids to the virus, she says lost their kids to the vaccine. That's a scathing report of her slipping up and actually saying something against that. I wonder if she'll get fact checked. Is Whoopi Goldberg going to get fact checked for that? Hey, team YouTube, is Whoopi Goldberg going to get her account taken down? Because you're going to say, fact check, the vaccine is safe and effective. You can't suggest that it's killing kids. I mean, ignore the VAERS report and don't look at anything. It doesn't happen. I mean, vaccine side effects are so rare. It doesn't happen, except the fact that, it's so rare that vaccine manufacturers protect themselves from liability from side effects, injuries, and deaths. So they damn well know they exist. That's why they signed the NCVIA and the PrEP Act. But however, now that they know that they exist, they created a government database to report it. Now you shouldn't look at the government database that's used to report it that they created when they took away liability from the vaccine manufacturers. Oh yeah, this is why they want to shut up Bill Maher and Joe Rogan, because they're full of shit. So, before I get to the next one, I'm not trying to be rude today because listen, I don't care what you look like. I don't care what ethnicity you are, what gender you are, what gender bender you are. You bend the genders and now you're a fender bender, Caitlyn gender bender. Whatever you want to do, knock yourself out. But when at the end of the day, it's like, it's so crazy that people that just progressively get fatter and fatter and fatter think they're like the leaders of health in our society. They're like, how dare everybody? It's like, why don't you start with self-accountability and take care of yourself? If somebody in my family that I love starts putting on the pounds, I'm not saying something to be rude or mean. I probably won't say anything at all, but it's like, the reason that we care so much is because we love you and we want you to be around, and we see the science behind massive obesity and all these other problems, and we want you to live a long time. People like Ethan Klein and Whoopi Goldberg are spiraling out of their own physical safety, and yet now they're the most outspoken, components of health in America. It's like, get a grip. Just because Big Pharma tells you you're a special girl and a special boy doesn't mean you're actually a healthy person. It just hits wrong. It's like, we should close gyms and spas and bars and everybody should get injected and I'm just going to keep eating and eating and eating. And it's like, okay, like, all right, I guess that makes you like really a really great health czar of America. Like the nerve that some of these people have is just absolutely insane. And before I move to the next clip, I just want to read a few headlines because they always say, oh, the science is settled. Oh, yeah, we have it all figured out, except for the fact that multiple countries, the World Health Organization, the CDC, none of them seem to agree on child boosters and child shots. So this is 5 mainstream articles, or 4. Ready? This is NPR. This is from January 5th, 2022. It says, advisors to the CDC says kids as young as 12 should get COVID booster shots. Okay? So the advisors to the CDC say kids as young as 12 should get COVID booster shots. The CDC themselves expanded the booster shot eligibility and strengthened recommendations for 12 and 17-year-olds. Okay, so everybody agrees with that, right? Booster shots for kids. Oh, yeah, the CDC and NPR and they say it's fine according to the CDC. All right, well, CNBC reported that the World Health Organization says there's no evidence healthy children and adolescents need COVID boosters. I showed the clip of the World Health Organization lady explain that herself and say there's no evidence for booster shots. So who's lying here? Is it the World Health Organization? Because if I disagree with the World Health Organization, they might take my video down. But if the CDC disagrees with the World Health Organization, it's settled science and everybody has to agree with it, except for 2 of the biggest health agencies on the planet don't even agree with each other. So the World Health Organization says there's no evidence for boosters. You have the CDC recommending boosters. You have Sweden saying no to COVID vaccines. This is Reuters mainstream report in my hands. Sweden decides against recommending COVID vaccines kids ages to 12. Meanwhile, the CDC is recommending it for that category. And Fauci even says that he hopes the FDA will authorize Pfizer's COVID vaccine for kids under 5 in the next month. So who should we believe? The government of Sweden, the CDC, the World Health Organization? What is this science I've heard about? I thought that it was all figured out. I thought it was settled and confirmed. Well, Sweden must be a bad boy in Sweden. They must be anti-vaxxers. The World Health Organization must be a bunch of anti-vaxxers because they're not doing the same thing as the CDC. Man, I wonder. Google who's the biggest lobbyist in Washington, Big Pharma. Google how much of the country, 5% of the country on 80% of the opioids in the world. We are a pilled out Big Pharma hell country that does way too much pharmaceuticals. Oh, did Big Pharma break some records last year? According to The Hill, record-breaking amounts of lobbying money from Big Pharma. man, I bet there's no corruption there. Everybody used to know lobbying is paying off politicians, but now because Neil Young's a dummy, all of a sudden now lobbying doesn't matter. We side with the lobbyists. It's like, get over yourself. Speaking of that, I have an article real quick. I'm not trying to be mean, but I do want to highlight this and just be honest. So someone wrote an article. I'm not going to say his name just to be nice, although it's public knowledge. I'm not doing anything wrong. Rolling Stone, it says Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson wax idiotic climate change and what it means to be black. Okay. So some liberal is crying, of course, in Brooklyn, New York, crying about, oh, Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson. Oh, they're talking so much about what it means to be black. And I have a problem with it in Rolling Stone. I knew right when I read this, I'm like, there's no way that the person who wrote this is black. It's going to be some random white liberal kid, complaining about other white people talking about black people, because black people can't be offended for their own race. You just got to be offended on their behalf. All right. So here's a picture of the guy. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm not doing anything mean or doxing him or anything. He published his name. When you publish an article, you publish your name. I just Googled his name. I found his Twitter account, and this is his profile picture. Eyes are closed. I'm not trying to be mean. Beer, slumped over. It's like his body posture is like, I hate myself. I hate my life. I'm leaned over a beer. It's like, what's the psychology behind uploading a profile picture in which your eyes are closed? You hate yourself so much that you can't even go through your camera roll and pick a picture of you that looks decent, like you smiling or you with your eyes open. Eyes are the window to the soul. Slumped over, beer. I hate myself. It's just fascinating. When they wrote an NPR smear piece on me, same thing. I just Googled the guy. I'm like, who wrote this piece? His eyes were closed in his profile picture. It's like, bro, how little how little self-love do you have to have in order to upload a profile picture of you looking like you hate yourself, And these people do hate themselves. So I just want to say, pray for these people, because they're suffering the most. They're just writing op-eds looking for meaning by making fun of Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan and acting like they're Malcolm X. And they hate themselves because their whole life is a lie. They spend time, bad-mouthing people who have their life together. They spend time bad-mouthing a podcast in which they're not intellectually sound enough to put on. They spend their time bad-mouthing me, bad-mouthing the people that are doing well in this community. And every single time, eyes closed, slumped over, hate themselves, beer in front of them, hipster living in a major city, it's going to shit, forced mask, forced vaccination, it's like they're living in literal hell, and they can't even prop themselves up to take one good photo for Twitter because they're looking for meaning in their shitty journalist job where they're doing the bidding for these big corporations, big government, big pharma, just spewing out nonsensical smears and propaganda. And it shows. These people are suffering. And I was like, let me guess. The Rolling Stone writer, I'm guessing he must be really black because he's crying about what it means to be black. Of course, it's a slumped over hipster who hates himself and has his eyes closed over a beer. I knew before, I'm like, there's no way this guy's black, complaining about that. But whatever. I want to play this real quick. Before we end, I probably got myself in trouble with this live stream. Too many truth bombs, too much honesty, whatever. To wrap it up, this is Kary Mullis decades ago during the whole AIDS epidemic. And in general, I guess Fauci was at the height of stuff. And Kary Mullis was like, I want to debate Anthony Fauci. If anybody's a credible scientist, an inventor, a Nobel Prize winner like Kary Mullis, have a debate. Oh, you hate Joe Rogan? Have a debate with him. You hate Robert Malone? Have a debate with him. You hate Peter McCullough? He's no dummy. He's one of the most published, if not the most published authors in his own field. Have a debate with him. This is Kary Mullis explaining cancel culture before cancel culture. He was like, dude, Anthony Fauci won't talk to me. These people run around and tell everybody what they think, but they hate to be challenged. And before I play this clip, the best interview that Fauci has given was an Instagram live with something Derbez? Was it? And I forget his name, Hispanic actor and comedian, Emilio Derbez, or I can't remember his first name. But anyway, this dude knew everything that I knew, asked Fauci the important questions, and Fauci was totally taken by guard. He didn't know anything. He was like, oh, yeah, like he was, this is the first time I've seen Anthony Fauci challenged, and it wasn't by a credible scientist. It was by an intelligent, intellectual, Hispanic comedian and actor who knows his stuff and who is willing to push back. This is why these people don't like to debate, because they just like to live in an echo chamber where you must agree with them or else you get censored. Emilio. Yeah, I guess it's Emilio. My bad. Someone said Antonio Banderas. No, it's Derbez. Emilio Derbez. But whatever. Got you. Let's play this clip of Kary Mullis decades ago. That's probably going to get me in trouble.
What is it? What is it about humanity that wants to go to all the details and stuff and listen? You know, these guys like Fauci get up there and start talking. You know, he doesn't know anything really about anything, and I'd say that to his face. Nothing. The man thinks you can take a blood sample and stick it in an electron microscope, and if it's got a virus in there, you'll know it. He doesn't understand electron microscopy, and he doesn't understand medicine. He should not be in a position like he's in. Most of those guys up there on the top are just total administrative people, and they don't know anything about what's going on the bottom. You know, those guys have got an agenda, which is not what we would like them to have, being that we pay for them to take care of our health in some way. They've got a personal kind of agenda. They make up their own rules as they go. They change them when they want to. And they smugly, like Tony Fauci, does not mind going on television in front of the people that pay his salary and lie directly into the camera. You can't expect the sheep to really respect the best and the brightest. They don't know the difference, really. I mean, I like humans, don't get me wrong, but
Yo, Kary Mullis, by the way, just a side fact, he loved LSD. You know, he was like, he credited that with like a lot of his like intelligent thoughts, but like he's like talking like he's like, I love humans. He's like, humans are cool. Like the dude liked to turn up. He liked to surf and do LSD, but he's like humans are nice, like as if he's like an alien. But I love the guy. He's cool.
Basically, the vast majority of them do not possess the ability to judge who is and who isn't a really good scientist. I mean, that's a problem. That's a main problem, actually, with science, I'd say, in this century, because science is being judged by people. Funding is being done by people who don't understand it. Okay, who do we trust? Fauci. Fauci doesn't know enough to, you know. If Fauci wants to get on television with somebody who knows a little bit about this stuff and debate him, he could easily do it because he's been asked. I mean, I've had a lot of people, president of the University of South Carolina, ask Fauci if he'd come down there and debate me on the stage in front of the student body, because I wanted somebody who was from the other side to come down there and balance because I felt like, well, these guys can listen to me, but I need to have somebody else down here that's going to tell me the other side. But Fauci didn't want to do it.
So that's Kary Mullis decades ago being like, I want to debate Fauci. I'm no slouch. You know, I'm a Nobel Prize winning scientist. And I would say his invention, he's dead. His invention is like the number one tool of the pandemic. With no PCR test, you know, that's the main test that they've been using. So with no cases, there's no deaths. With no deaths, there's no, you know, this is all the whole case count is driven from PCR tests. That's the founder. Every time I post a video of him talking about his test, they take it down, they censor me. I have it on Rumble, I have it on BitChute. It's still there. But you know, I just wanted to share that clip because this is something that's happened for decades, where it's like these government bureaucrats have brainwashed people into thinking you're not allowed to question them. I am science. Well, did you invent the PCR test? No, that was Kary Mullis. So how come you'll use the test that he created, but you don't want to have a conversation with them? You get it? These people are like leeches. They steal your stuff. They steal your money. Their entire budget is taxpayer money, most of it, if not all of it. And then they take, you know, bureaucratic ownership over science. They limit certain scientists, fund certain scientists. They play this God role. And then they convince you that if you question the government or you question Big Pharma, that you are questioning the science, because I, Anthony Fauci, am the science. You know, he didn't invent airplanes. He didn't, you know, he wasn't the Wright brothers. He wasn't in the lab with Watson and Crick, you know, discovering DNA. He wasn't Luc Montagnier. He didn't find the HIV strand. He doesn't have a Nobel Prize for it like Kary Mullis for inventing the PCR. Just, he's not like the number one scientist ever. He's just the government top dog, right? And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But this idea that you can't question him, it's a totally made up propaganda, nonsensical take that is being perpetuated by intellectual featherweights like Neil Young, who cried about Monsanto 5 years ago and now wants to cry about anybody questioning the FDA or our federal government. It's like, what an idiot. How dumb is this guy? You know, he's like every liberal activist. I'm an environmentalist, but billions of masks are going into the ocean. Yeah, And if I disagree with the masking policy, they could take my video down. So they're polluting, the oceans with billions of cloth masks. How stupid do you have to be to think that poking holes in a cloth mask and shoving it over your kid's face dressed like a slave is somehow a functional way to run a band practice? Like, you're evil, sicko people. I don't care what they do. I'm not like these other people. I don't care if you take my money. I don't care if you take my platform. I don't care if I lose everything. You're going to hell. You're horrible people for abusing children, abusing elders. Lockdowns have physical, mental, psychological effects. So many people died of suicide. So many people died of overdoses. You have obesity spiking in this country, life expectancy going backwards, opioids from the big pharma industry killing millions of people. And you son of a guns, I was really going to say the B word, but I'll say son of a guns, are trying to cover it all up and act as if you question this industry or you question our government, who gave you the food pyramid, who time and time again has proven that they are not flawless when it comes to corruption and ethics, efficacy, whatever you want to call it. They're not. So you have to be able to question in this country. What do people not understand? How long are they going to go around along with this, And I'm putting myself at risk with this live stream for two reasons: the Kary Mullis clip, but also the forced masking stuff. That's my only strike on YouTube. If I get another strike, they take off my live streams for a week, take down my channel, and then they could even try to delete me. For what? I'm just going to look YouTube in the face and say, you guys are sickos. You guys are a PR team for the people who are abusing children. Go to hell, you idiots. I referenced a CNN person and talked about cloth masks or masks, and they're like, you technically said that they don't work. You're such idiots. You're such intellectual fissure. What does that even mean? If you were to say, or I were to say, hypothetically, masks don't work, what does that mean? Does a mask work to stop a train? If you throw a mask on a train track, does it stop a train? No, it's a broad term. Does it work? Can I, take it? Can I take this and throw it across the room in a mask? Like, what does it mean to work? What do you mean by work? Does it fully stop a virus? Does it stop you from getting sick? Is it block 100% transmission? What does work? It's like if I said a car works. It works to what? It works to drive, but it doesn't fly. So you're taking a broad term, I said, out of context, talking about a CNN host and claiming that I said something, when in reality, that statement in itself is subjective to what it works. Does it work to completely stop a virus? No, it doesn't, dumbass. Does it work to stop you from getting sick? No, it doesn't, dumbass. Has it proven on any scale that it is this massive, amazing tool that is, shutting down Omicron all across? No, dumbass. Does it provide minimal protection in certain cases? Sure, but it also comes along with physical, mental, psychological abuse to the children, to the adults. It comes at a heavy cost of speech delays, inhumane, extra depression. Oh, fact check. No, it doesn't. Shut the fuck up, you pieces of shit. Fact check yourself straight to hell. And then you can talk to the devil about it. Oh, I mean, technically there's no evidence of abuse. It's so good for you. It's so good to hide your smile. It's so good to hide your face. It's so good to hurt your children. Go fuck yourself, YouTube. Go fuck yourself, Team YouTube on Twitter. Should I upload this on Twitter and tag you in it? Go fuck yourself, okay? You don't even understand what you're talking about. You're covering up the abuse of people. And all of this stuff, does it provide minimal pros? Yeah, but compared to the massive outcries of the psychological and mental abuse and limits in speech and the underdevelopment of children that's going to last decades, it's not worth it, you fuckers. Go to hell. Go fuck yourself, you complicit child abusers. You are complicit in the scheme, PR teaming and covering up people, pushing back against these policies that are damaging on every level. Mandates are damaging. Lockdowns are damaging. Forced masking is damaging. And you try to shut people up, go fuck yourself. You're going to hell. I hope you guys feel like shit every time you listen to me talk, because this is what the truth sounds like. Your little fuckery corporate job. Oh, I'm going to censor people and shut people up. You're a fucking scumbag, okay? And I will never apologize for comparing it to anything, because you guys really are that bad. You guys really are as bad as certain people in World War II. Have you gotten to the level of certain, right here to right here? No, but you're getting pretty close. So, apologize. No, Mao Zedong starved tens of millions of people. Stalin killed millions of people, okay? You guys, when it's all said and done, how many people missed screenings for cancer? How many people died because of tuberculosis medics being diverted to places that they didn't even need them? Hundreds of thousands. How many people got fatter? How many kids got fatter? How many people died of opioids? How many people died of fentanyl? How many people are dying from the shit food that you feed them in the commercials when you shut down their gyms? When it's all said and done, I wouldn't be surprised if you killed as many people as Stalin, you fucking pieces of shit. So the fact that you're not even allowing people to counter your fuckery narrative just shows me that you are the authoritarian scumbag that just wants to abuse children, abuse children, abuse children, abuse children, abuse adults, abuse adults, abuse adults, abuse elders, and then take away our First Amendment in this country to stop you from calling it out. Which is what makes this country a democracy or a republic, which is not anymore. But when it was, you can do something wrong, but I could call you out. You can have this opinion, but I could call you out. You guys think you're the overlords, like you're going to fucking force mass kids for 20 years, treat them like slaves, prisoners, and serfs, and abuse the crap out of them, cause speech delays, kids being compared to autism because they can't talk right because you fucked them up. Go to hell, okay? I don't care what you take from me. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you say. I hope you hear my voice. I hope it's not artificial algorithms. I hope it's real people that research this video and my other videos. Go fuck yourself, you evil pieces of shit. I know why you guys upload, profile pictures with your eyes closed, slumped over a beer, because you fucking hate yourself because you're a horrible person. You're a terrible piece of shit. That's what you do. Just spend your days fucking bad-mouthing better people than you, adding nothing to this world, fucking getting wasted with your friends in hipster fucking slave country where you can't even go into a grocery store in certain places without your vaccine passport to prove that you are loyal to the number one lobbyist in Washington. I bow down to Pfizer and Moderna and Fauci. I have it. I am complicit and complacent with the number one lobbyist of Washington. You bought off Trump. You bought off Biden. You buy off Democrats. You buy off Republicans. You've been outspending cigarettes and oil industry in Washington for decades. You are the big wig paying everybody off. I know you've got caught bribing scientists, foreign countries. I know you've settled record high criminal fines. I know your other products are getting taken off the market. I know you lied about asbestos. I know you don't give a fuck about me, but I am loyal to you. Yeah, if I fucking did what you did, I'd probably close my eyes in my profile picture too, because eyes are the window to the soul, and you don't fucking have one, okay? So let's not go back and forth on this type of stuff, okay? You can have the money, you can have the corporate job, you can have the little censorship authoritarian position in the new regime, but you will never have a soul at this rate, and you will never be confident, and you'll never like yourself, and you'll never feel good about what you're doing. So I hope you fuckers listen to this. I hope it's not an AI algorithm that goes over this video, because I will make you fucking feel the truth, okay? And I don't care what it costs. I don't care what it takes. I will never bow down to your authoritarian regime. I will never abuse elders. I will never abuse children. Oh, let's lock the vulnerable up in their houses for 3 months. Do you know what it's like? I mean, a lot of you people hate yourself, drink beer all the time, and look like a slumped over, version of a sloppy Joe coming out of the burger. But do you know what it's like to take care of yourself? Because if you take care of yourself, even at my age, if I go 2 months without going outside and being able to exercise, it really hurts me. It hurts my back. It hurts my mental health. It hurts my physical health. It's not good. Do you know how it is when you're 70 or 80 or 90 and you lose access to your family? You can't see someone in the hospital. They don't let you go outside. You're wearing down their bones. You're wearing down their muscles. And I hope you piece of fucking shit know your complicity in this scheme to abuse elders and abuse children, because you're not helping elders by taking away their gym and treating them like a slave. You hurt millions of elderly people, and the karma of all the people that you abuse, all the people that you hurt, and in some cases, all the people that you killed will weigh on you for the rest of your fucking life. So spend less time talking about me, Joe Rogan, and Jordan Peterson, and spend more time looking in the mirror. And if you look in the mirror, try to open your eyes or else you can't see yourself. And if you can't open your eyes in your own profile picture, it's probably because you fucking hate yourself, okay? Because you know you're not living a meaningful life, and everything you believe politically is a lie. Your cities are going to complete shit. It sucks being there. You can't even go out anywhere half the time. And when you do, you're being treated like you're a fucking slave in a dystopian 1984 nightmare. I'd hate myself too if I were you, but I don't. And I don't care what it costs. I don't care what you try to take. I really don't. This is how I feel. And I feel like I have millions of kids and elders on my back, elders that are too old to speak up for themselves. You don't think that locking somebody in a house for 4 months weighs down their muscles and body? You probably don't know, because your body's already fucking weighed down because you don't take care of yourself, or you're going to sit on television, looking like disheveled as hell, talking about health because you suck up to Pfizer. It's like, these people are such scum. And every kid that you hurt, I can stand up for myself. I'm a 32-year-old man. If I was a 5-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid being forced masked at a fucking band practice with a hole in it, I don't have a voice. If I'm an 80-year-old at a retirement home and no one gives a shit about me and I'm losing my muscle mass, my bones are wearing down, my whole schedule is ruined and I'm suffering physically and psychologically, I don't have a voice. Well, guess who does have a voice? Me. And you fuckers have to go fuck yourself, okay? Because all of the evil that you've caused, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And it's unbelievable that you're covering it up. It's unbelievable that you're trying to take away the opposition. We know what you're doing. You know, it's never going to be rewarding. You're never going to feel good about yourself. You hate yourself because you're going against God and you're going against nature. You're going against the truth, the law of the land, something that it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, you know, man, woman, doesn't matter. You're going against the laws of nature. You're going against the truth and you're going against God. So there's not going to be enough IPAs in the fucking Brooklyn Beanery for you to feel good about yourself and open your eyes because you're scum. You need to figure out the truth. You need to figure out what you're doing wrong. You need to figure out self-awareness and self-accountability and take care of yourself and save yourself before you can save the world, or else your whole life's going to be a lie and you're just lashing out, crying for help. And I pray for you. I'm not even that mad at you, except for the fact that you're hurting so many kids and elders. If it was just me, I could handle it. But you guys got to stop abusing the children. When are you going to stop? It's been 2 years. And I'm going to say something else here. You know, as much as these people are somewhat to blame, I don't believe that the extremists who are running this medical tyranny, I don't think they're the reason this still exists. I don't even think it's the extremists in the media who are just lying about Joe Rogan all the time. The reason this is still going on is because there's tens of millions of people who know exactly what I'm saying is true, but don't want to do anything and let their kid be abused for 2 years by some psychopath in Portland or somewhere. You know, there's millions of people who know exactly what I'm saying is true, but they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to lose their little position. And a lot of people have a lot to lose. Some people have nothing to lose. They just don't want to, you know, be brave and they want to be a coward. And to me, that's like, you know, I don't mind taking certain sacrifices for myself. But when I see them doing this to elders, when I see them doing this to children, if you can't protect your kids or your elders, what the fuck can you do? So this isn't around just because of the bad people. This is around because the majority of good people who know everything I'm saying is true refuse to act on it and refuse to do bare minimal non-compliance to save their kid from abuse. How are you going to feel as a parent if your kid grows up, you know, showing signs of like speech distortion and like, you know, I'm not saying literally autism, but some of the signs of autism because you didn't pay attention to this stuff? Are you going to feel like shit for the rest of your life? You know, when you knew you could have done something, but you just didn't feel like the minor inconvenience of like, you know, going against the grain. I mean, at what point it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. Okay. And soon it's going to be 10 years and soon it's going to be 15 years. And they told you that if you got 1 shot and 2 shots, they take the mask off. Now it's been 2 years and there's kids doing band practice with cutout fucking slave masks on their face, you know? And people still, it's like, what in the world is going through people's heads? I have no idea. But this is the energy that I'm bringing everywhere. You know, they try to say something to me in a grocery store, at a gym. Like this exact speech is going to be, and already has been broadcasted at several corporations around me because I want them to feel the truth. I don't care what they do to me. I don't care what they say to me. I don't care if nobody catches on camera, everyone catches on camera. I'm not doing it for the camera. I'm doing it because I want these people around to feel the truth. You've been bullying the crap out of people for the last 2 years. You've been bullying elders, bullying children. A lot of people don't agree with it, but they're afraid of you because whether you have a little power at Starbucks or Kroger, or you have power in the federal government, you know, even if it's smaller on a big scale, you know, people can't get their food and resources without going through you in some form. So a lot of people don't agree with you. They're afraid of you. I got so many people I know that say, you know, you're easy to talk to, even if I disagree with you. But, you know, people on the left, I can't tell them the truth. They're out here freaking out about everybody, calling everybody anti-vaxxers, whatever. You got people like Barry Weiss, who's left-wing as hell, that doesn't even want to tell the truth because she's afraid, or she does, but she, you know, she's hesitant because she's afraid of her own peers and her own people turning against her. So, you know, it's like whenever I go out, I'm really about that life. I'm going to tell you exactly what I told you right now. So you hear it, everybody at the grocery stores hear it, every elder, every kid, and maybe that will inspire them to do something because, you know, so much of this stuff is so ridiculously anti-science. Poking holes in a cloth mask, putting it on for 10 seconds, taking it off when you eat. So what's the science behind if I take 30 seconds to eat? Okay, 30 seconds. Hey, sir, you got to put the mask back on right now. I'm a flight attendant and I'm a psychopath and I just listen to the corporations. Put your mask on for 30. You have to put it on because you're done eating. Well, I ate for 30 seconds. What if I ate for 30 minutes? You'd let me eat. You let me eat and breathe and spit around because the food's in front of my hand. You're a fucking idiot. You're just a corporate slave. You're a corporate tool. You're using your mini position of authority to abuse people. You're an idiot. You know, there is no scientific discovery that says if you eat for 30 seconds, put your mask back on. But if you eat for 2 hours, that you're scientifically less proven to. It's fucking bullshit. They're just testing your compliance. And here's the thing that I wouldn't say worried because I don't buy into the fear, but just historically speaking and psychologically speaking, once they can manipulate you to do 50 evil things, what's going to stop the next 50? So if you're willing to abuse your own kids, abuse elders, and put up with abuse for this, what else can they program you to do? This is like a psychological experiment dry run. It's like, dude, these people are fucking idiots or they're cowards, whatever, but they'll literally do anything. Like we can tell them to do anything and they'll do it. So they already know now they got you like ducks in a row. Like people, it's like if you'll force a mask on someone for 3 seconds to sit down knowing it's wrong, what else will you do knowing it's not wrong? You know, these people are not stupid. They're like, dude, these people really will do any, like, you know, it's like anal swab and shove things up your nose every week. People are like, it's like, what won't you do? You know, it's like the South Park episode when they told people that in order to drive the car, they had to shove a huge dildo up their, sorry to be, you know, profane, but it's just true. And it's like, this car goes so fast, but in order to do it, you shove a dildo up your butt and your mouth, and you're like going back and forth like this to do this circular car. And they're going, and everyone's like, oh, this is great, but it's like hurting them. You know, it's like, it's the same exact thing as that South Park episode. It's like, what will people do in order to get what they're telling? It's like, oh man, this works great. It's like, it's just that concept. It's funny. South Park, Simpsons, because they make, you know, commentary on what's going on. They often predict the future just through looking at how people are acting and making fun of it. Like Babylon Bee, most of their articles, it's like, it's a joke and then it's reality. It's a joke and then it's reality. They make a funny joke and then it comes true in 6 months. How does that happen? It's because they're making commentary on how stupid people are. And then people do stupid crap over and over and over again. And I'm sorry to be profane. I don't like to curse a lot, but seriously, like the only time I really get upset, I don't care what people do. I'm a very peaceful person. I'm not one to mess with. You're not stealing my money. You're not like physically abusing me. Like I'm not a pushover. I don't like when people are bullies. So as long as you're doing your own thing, I don't care. But like 2 years of this stuff and people are just abusing, trying to abuse me. Like you guys got to stop, you know, and people got to stand up for themselves peacefully, non-comply, and just arm yourself with truth, wisdom, science. These people don't know anything. All they know is I was told to do this. I have to do it. And that's what it is. That's all they don't know any science. You think like everybody I talk to that has a mask mandate at work, there's got to be some sort of metrics to the mask mandate, unless it's permanent, unless you're going to be like this for the rest of your life. Okay, what's the date of the mask mandate ending? Well, they don't have one at your job. Okay, what's the metric? Is it case count? Well, we don't know. Is it like a state case count, county case count, a global case count, a United States case count? Oh, we don't know. Is it a death count? No. Is it like a test positivity rating of tests? We don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh, they're testing only unvaccinated people at your work, but no vaccinated people. What the fuck? Millions of vaccinated people are getting sick. So why would you only test unvaccinated? Because their entire policy is not driven around stopping the virus. Their entire policy is around forcing and coercing people into getting this product injected into their body. And they don't care what scientific mistakes they make. If they cared about science and testing mattered to stop the spread, they'd be testing unvaccinated people too, or vaccinated people too. So because, transmission in Israel is case count #1 in the world, even though their vaccinations rate high per capita. It doesn't make any sense because it's not supposed to make sense. It makes sense when you start to realize who these people are, what they're really doing, and what they want to get out of it. They want you to get their product. They want you to listen, and they want you to shut the fuck up and do things against your will and against your conscience that they tell you to do. So I implore everybody to ask their boss basic scientific questions. I talked to somebody the other day who wants to get a religious or a health exemption to the vaccine. And she knows her stuff. I think she watches my channel and other channels. And she told me and said, I asked my boss, who has liability if something happens to me? I know it's rare that a side effect happens, but they do exist. I know people that it's happened to. Are you liable? Because the government's not liable and Big Pharma's not liable. They have no liability. If I get injured, maybe I can access some sort of funds through the government. But for the most part, Big Pharma has no liability. In many cases, your corporation has no liability. So she asked her corporation, if you're forcing me to get a vaccine against my will that I want an exemption for, are you going to take liability and pay me out money if something happens to me and I lose, vision or whatever, or arm or like whatever it is? They didn't answer. It's like, why would you work for an abusive company? It's, I get people need money, but it's like, dude, if they're that evil to be like, we're just telling you to do it, we don't give a shit. Yeah, we like, if something happens to you, if they don't have liability, you think that they're going to keep you there? No, they're going to throw you to the curb, throw you in your house. Oh, my bad. Probably not even give you a severance package and just hire somebody to do what you did. They don't give a fuck about you. But like the boldness of them being like, we don't even have to tell you. People are being conditioned to think that they don't even have a reason to tell you. 15 days to slow the spread. 15 days to slow the spread. We can't stop it, but we're going to get hospitals ready. Okay, we built the Javits Center. We don't need it because we fucking lied to you. Now what? Well, let's extend it past Easter. Well, let's now extend it past that. Well, now, and then at a certain point, they brainwashed people so hard, they stopped even providing reasons for what they were doing. At first, it was like, well, we need to do this temporarily to slow the spread. Well, now we need to stop the death rate. Well, now we need to stop the case rate. Well, now we want cases to be lower. Now they don't even need to tell you anything. It's like, shut the fuck up, do what we say, and we don't even have to explain ourselves. And people are going along with it. It's bigger than just, oh my God, this is bad, or I'll temporarily put up with it. When they tried to kick me out of a grocery store unsuccessfully, they ended up trying to pay for my stuff because I'm such a boss. But anyway, the guy said to me, he said, hey, he looked ashamed of himself because he looked like a soulless corporate slave. But in general, he's like, hey, man, like, we're just doing this until it ends. And I'm like, you don't understand the concept, brother. It doesn't end because you keep doing it. The place that this ended in the country, where has this ended? In conservative areas where people don't follow it. In 90% of even conservative counties in blue states, they're not even paying attention, and life is completely normal for most people. So your whole concept of how this works is wrong. You're acting as if you keep following these authoritarian orders that you're going to get your freedom and normality back. Meanwhile, there's many places in the world and in our country that have normality back, and they did it by doing the exact opposite of what you're doing. So your whole concept of how you get your freedom back is totally skewed. So I'm trying to do you a favor. You might not like what I do, but you might actually love what I do. I might be who you want to be. You wish you had the balls to do what I did, or you wish you had people could say, oh, I have the flexibility. Really? Do I? I could lose my entire salary overnight just for saying one truth about this. Yeah, I have some freedom, but not really. It's like I could lose everything in a day. I just don't care. That's where I'm at. But it's unbelievable. I'm going to read some super chats real quick, and then I'm going to make this brief. Amanda, thank you. Asma said, keep doing this. Appreciate you. Santana, thank you. Denise, thank you. Terry, Aaron, Ian, appreciate it. Lorna, Alex, Carla, Patty, Luke said, Logic and Elite, Effery, thank you. Lucinda, Julie, thank you. Renee, thank you. Appreciate y'all for the stars and stuff. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's fine, but I really just don't care anymore. Someone said Walmart's one of the biggest ones who pushes the mask wearing. Yeah, well, this is what these major corporations do. They get real estate in all 50 states, and then they force their own policy. So, when and this is important to know for the future real quick, I find it interesting, and I'm not blaming anybody for the sake of this, but I find it interesting. If any Democrat president were in office, Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, no Republicans would have locked the country down. There's no way they would have fallen for this. The only way they could have got Republicans to feel comfortable with the lockdown at first, including me, I will admit, I didn't feel great about it, but I felt slightly more comfortable with Donald Trump at the helm because he's one of us, right? They got conservatives to shut down. Hundreds of thousands of businesses went under. Hundreds of thousands of restaurants went under. What happens when 100,000 restaurants went over? Walmart, Amazon, these places start to take over even more. So a lot of this push, whether they mean to or not, they're taking away private and small businesses, letting the corporations take over, and then enforcing corporate rule over state or county rule so the corporations can do what they want anyway, and they follow the guidelines of the authoritarians. So it's like this whole scheme was really, at the end, whether it was purposeful or not, was really a design to suck a lot of power away from average people, average businesses that wouldn't enforce these type of mandates, and replace them with multi-billion-dollar conglomerates who will enforce the status quo. So conservatives need to never get tricked again. And I'm not blaming anybody, because as much as I knew this was all going to happen, and I have tweets predicting all this, I still was like, well, I don't know what's going on. Is this a bioweapon? Are we being attacked? Is this like a temporary measure? And then it just lasted forever. So we got to make sure we never get tricked again. And I include myself because, I had a lot of foresight, but honestly, they did a great job rolling it out. This was like genius level stuff where it's like, you got Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump's like, oh, we'll do it for 15 days. You know, it was like a slow little convincing of a lot of libertarians, like, this is all right, you know, just a few, and we're going to fight China and whatever. And, you know, it didn't work out that way. Proton said, a gift from Yorkshire, England anomaly. You satiate my frustration. You say the things I need saying. I appreciate it. God bless you. And I apologize. I don't like to be fair, I don't even consider myself angry. I guess you could call it that, but I'm just passionate. I'm very, very passionate about this. And I want people on YouTube that watch my videos, or whoever kind of scrolls over it to see if I'm violating their psychotic authoritarian rules. I want them to hear what I'm saying. I don't care if they take my money. I don't care if they take me down for a week. To be honest, I don't care what they do. I want them to hear the truth at least one time in their sicko lives, and hopefully feel something about it, because it's so obviously having negative impacts. If you Google, is forced masking bad? Let's just Google it real quick, because this is the type of gaslighting through Google algorithm manipulation. Is forced masking bad? Let's look what they're doing on Google. All right, hold on. I got to just minimize this real quick. Is forced masking bad? Here's the first couple articles. So one of them is ballotpedia.org, arguments against mask requirements. Does wearing a mask your harm? The first one that comes up on common questions, it says, no, wearing a mask will not harm your health, even if you are sick with cold or allergies. If your mask gets too moist, just make sure you're changing it regularly. So you have literally Google gaslighting you, saying a mask will not harm your health. It's not even debatable that it is psychologically and mentally damaging for millions of people. They're covering up. You know, mandatory masking of school is a bad idea. Okay, they actually have OC registrar. That's interesting. Why some people choose not to wear a mask, evidence of harm. They have some stuff, but under the Google, so I guess they do have a little bit of a balance, but you have Google common questions saying, no, it's not harmful. Oh, it's just so great. Just it's, you know, don't even think about it. All right, I'm going to read a few more and then I'm going to take off. I'm going to keep this under an hour, probably under 55 minutes. I'm probably just going to wrap it up right now. Appreciate y'all. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Just a few links real quick. My Telegram chat is over 70,000 people. Thank you for following me on there. It's a big deal. It helps disseminate information, get out a message if there's any sort of shadow banning, etc. So Telegram, Dream Rare Chat, t.me/Dream Rare Chat, or Dream Rare Chat, DREAMRARE chat on Telegram. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com, stayintouchwithme.com. I very rarely use it, and I haven't really had to use it for emergency reasons, but I will in case something happens as far as censorship or whatever. So stayintouchwithme.com. Every now and then I do sales on my hats and stuff, or have a new song or a book, or I try not to use it that much, but eventually maybe I'll do like a weekly or bi-weekly newsletter that's not annoying and informative. I'm working on that. So that's another good one. I have a YouTube. I have Rumble, Getter. I don't use it that much, but Rumble, Gab, Dream Rare, and all those, BitChute, TikTok, everything. So I should be here. Hopefully nothing happens, but I touched a lot of subjects that I know they're sensitive of, and I'm tired of like walking around it. It's like, I do good work, and I definitely try to be as accurate as possible, even in this one, but it's like, I'm tired of acting like cloth masks and forced masking isn't psychologically and mentally abusive. It is. I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it 101 times. Also, I have a clip. I just did a live stream today with Eric Griffin from Workaholics. If you remember him, he's also a very funny comedian. We did a live stream. We had a great chat, and I'm going to try to chop up a clip of that today because he's pretty, middle of the road, common sense dude. And there's a few good moments. So I'm going to try to get a clip of that, Instagram, etc. Appreciate y'all following anywhere. Someone said OnlyFans. No, I'll pass on that for now. But if I get really desperate, I don't think that's a good career path. But if they try to take my money for real, maybe I'll have to spiral into like an OnlyFans dystopia where I just can't make money any other way. But for now, no, I'll pass on that. Jokes aside, appreciate y'all. Have a beautiful day. Stay blessed, stay positive. And, I think things are getting better. My life is fine, but anytime someone tries to suck me into their dystopian reality, I stand up for myself and I try to say it loud enough so every parent and elder in the room can also hear it, to know that they're not alone and know that what they're thinking is what most people are thinking. It's just a lot of people are being pressured into shutting up about it, and it's the safe route, to not really push back against it. But it's only going to be safe for so long because, with all of this speech delay stuff with the children, real quick before I leave, they're not going to do a study. Like I said, it's just basic science. It's basic physical science. Okay. If you don't run for a month, it's harder to get in shape. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Like your bones wear down quicker, your muscles wear down quicker. It's even more damaging to elders to stop them from participating in society and having their routine. It's scientifically proven that it helps them live longer to do these things, and taking them away will kill them quicker. So they're not doing a study on the tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of elderly people who lost muscle mass, whose bones got weaker, and they spiraled into basically a death spiral because of the lockdowns and stuff. They're not going to do that study because they don't give a shit. The CDC and the FDA, you know, that study wouldn't look good on them. So they're not interested in it. Maybe they'll do it, or someone will do it in 5 years and be like, whoops, we told you so. Like, every single commercial, this product's healthy, this product's healthy. Then you turn on the TV and they're like, remember that product that we told you was healthy? Well, actually, if you get with this lawyer, you can sue them because there was asbestos, or, that this was tainted and people are getting cancer. I mean, how many dozens of commercials have you seen like that? This is time and time again. They make money. They tell you it's amazing. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Either way, the lawsuit is usually very lower than the amount of money that they made off killing people and hurting people. So the cycle continues. Wake up, folks. God bless you. Appreciate y'all so much. Have a beautiful day. Have a positive day. Don't let this info get you down. Be peaceful. Be optimistic. Do your thing. But just remember that, bravery goes a long way. And especially standing up for the voiceless like elders and children is ideal, considering that, so many parents are neglecting to protect their own children right now. And, just going along with this as if there is no negative consequences, because people like YouTube are gaslighting them. All right. Have a beautiful one, folks. Appreciate you. And I'm out.